Hello duelists, Tombox here from MST.TV and welcome to the side deck series. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been around for a very long time, and with that amount of time, it has established a huge library of cards. Now, side decking can get pretty tricky when it comes to remembering which card that you want to side, and maybe you just don't remember all these cards. Now, in this segment, we're going to serve as a reference for you guys and help you choose the correct side cards. Now, each list will focus on a different aspect of siding, so maybe it will help you guys pick and choose some of your side deck cards. Now, in this episode, we are going to focus on hand traps. So this is going to be my top 10 hand traps of Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, so to kick off this list, let's begin with the hand trap that everyone kind of want to start with when they're going second, Max C. Now, Max C is basically everyone's favorite hand trap at this point because by issuing out a Max C challenge, your opponent is basically punished for, well, going into Max C. Special summoning, the most dominant mechanic in the game. Because anytime there's a top tier deck, it usually revolves around special summoning. And maybe with the exception of Monarchs, but even in Monarchs, you can probably get one draw out of it. So it's not too bad, but starting off with the Maxi is what we're going to do because usually we want to draw into other hand traps during this Maxi to survive because you can still get OTK'd by your opponent. So, number 2, we have Gores, the Emissary of Darkness. Now, why is Gores so early mention? Well, Gores does hold a very special place on this list because it allowed people back in 2008, and this is one of the older cards of course, back in 2008, 2009, people were able to bluff with not playing a single card, or perhaps maybe they are holding a Gores, and it actually forced many stalemates during, well, Teledad formats. People just didn't want to run into this thing because, first of all, it had a really solid body of 27, summoned out a token to go with it. All of it happens during damage steps, so Royal Oppression wasn't a card that you could actually use against this. And, well, with that big of a body that you didn't really have to commit to, maybe you traded a bit of life points for it, well, your opponent's going to get punished for it. But nowadays, it's pretty much irrelevant because, well, not only do we have Solemn Strike and everything else, main phase 2, our monsters usually can deal with a big body. So big bodies just don't mean enough. For number 3, we have Battle Fader, or Swift Scarecrow. Both of these hand traps basically are battle phase enders, so the moment they do a direct attack, you activate their effect, and boom, battle phase has ended. This is particularly good to draw into with a Max C, because, well, your opponent usually has committed into trying to kill you, and because of this Battle Fader, or Swift Scarecrow, that has been, stopped dead in its track. Battle Fader especially has been made very popular during the Frognarchs format, the Frog Monarch format, where it can also serve as a tribute at the end too. Number 4, we have Effect Veiler. Now, Effect Veiler is definitely one of the better hand traps during the formats where people are reliant on their effects on field. During formats where the graveyard is more dependent or there's a ton of chainable stuff, Effect Veiler does not seem to suit the situation. One of the other things about Effect Veiler that doesn't make her so good is that you can't activate Effect Veiler during your own turn. So that is a bit of a minus. However, stunning your opponent and making them unable to set up their combo is still one of the greatest things that Effect Veiler can offer. Number 5, we have DD Crow! DD Crow, way back in the Strike of Neos. This is one of the best hand traps back in the day, and even to this day, it is a very useful hand trap, and it's been reprinted so many times because of its relevancy. This card is one of the best graveyard interruption. By banishing one card in the graveyard. Very simple effect, really. And so you can activate it during either player's turn, and, well, guess what? It interrupts, well, basically Metal Foes, interrupts stuff in the current format. It's going to be a thing. If your deck relies on the graveyard, you can expect that DD Crow could possibly throw a huge wrench in that and just ruin your plans. Back in the day, it was used to chain against, Call the Haunted, Premature Burials. Nowadays, we're just taking out +1 cards like Metalfoe Fusions, interrupting a Daigusto Emerald, and even for the upcoming Zodiac, you can take away the Momorat when they try to, kind of put it back into the deck. Tons of good stuff with DD Crow. Number 6, we have Artifact Lancia. Now, DD Crow did banish the card. Artifact Lancia keeps them where it is. By not allowing your opponent to banish cards for that turn, well, this card is definitely one of the more amazing ones. This card is definitely becoming one of the more popular side deck cards, especially when decks use the banishing mechanic to recover cards and use it to pay cost. Decks like Inferno's basically have their turns shut down completely. Necros definitely got screwed over by this card because, well, they can't banish, so they can't recover any of their spells, and that basically shut their turn down too. This card is still relevant because Lawn Mowing is coming out, and Lawn Mowing decks, Fairy Tale Snow, we also have, of course, the Infernoids coming in. Again, this card is going to be very important in your side deck, believe me here. Number 7, we have Flying Sea. Now, Flying Sea definitely one of the more interesting choices to counter the Exceed Summoning mechanic. This only works against decks that are strictly using Exceed Summoning and nothing else, because, well, you can still tribute it off, you can still synchro with it. Basically, everything is still available with this card. It only stuns those decks. However, for decks that are centered around using this card, it's going to be very difficult for them to play, and basically, their boards are going to be pretty half-assed. So Flying Sea is just basically there to get in your way. Number 8, we have Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Personally, one of my favorite hand traps from the Ghost Sister series. Ghost Ogre, Snow Rabbit, being able to interrupt cards, whether it be a continuous spell that's activating again, pendulum scales are activating again, monsters are activating their effects. Basically, this card hits everywhere on the field, and that's why this card's so versatile. Now, as good as this card may sound, it's not for every format, especially if your opponent has a lot of grave-centric effects that activate in the grave when they're destroyed, or maybe the spells and traps only activate when they're played, then this card may not be as effective as it needs to be. However, this card is still one of the favorite ones because it does hit all over the field. It is also a tuner, it's level 3, and it also can activate while it is on the field. So aside from just being a hand trap, it's just a really good monster in general. Number 9, we have our actual hand trap. This one definitely deserves the name of a hand trap. It's Typhoon. This card is very interesting compared to Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre probably doing very similar things compared to this card. So this is a twister that you can use during turn 1 when your opponent goes first. And that's what makes this card really, really useful, especially against decks that like to set up with pendulum scales and everything. And you can be like, ooh, Typhoon, blow it off. Or maybe they set up some back row like Anti-Spell Fragrance and all that stuff. And well, it's an additional MST in that case. Very useful stuff, no cost to play, and only condition is you cannot control any back row to activate from hand. Otherwise, you can set it and use it like a twister. Number 10, we have Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. This is a very, very interesting side deck card because it attacks the extra deck with pinpoint accuracy, and that's also one of the best cards in mirror matches for decks that are reliant on extra deck based boss monsters like Dante and ABC Dragon Buster. Basically, by revealing a single copy yourself while your opponent controls more monster than you, you banish every single copy in their extra deck. That actually forces them to find an alternative method to play their own deck. Usually it isn't as effective as playing the actual boss monster. Because you can activate this card during your opponent's turn, it really kind of screws them over when they kind of go mid-combo setup and then, you know, get shut down because of it. So now their board is kind of a half-assed setup and is not really ready to deal with your coming onslaught. Well, that is it for this side deck series list of hand traps. What are your top picks of hand traps in this game of Yu-Gi-Oh? Leave it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I guess that's it, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. And if you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, drop a like and hit the left button over here to subscribe. Or if you want to check out another video from us in the past, click here on the right. And as always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.